Hello, Madis.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today, and I really appreciate the time that you took filling in these tests. How did you find the testing experience overall?
Wow, it was very interesting. I haven't done anything similar before. It was very, I would say, even difficult exercises. It was quite a lot of exercises with the time that was being presented to go through them. So it was very interesting to read through the reports afterwards as well. And I would like to know what the results mean.
Okay, yes, we're going to discuss that today. And did something surprise you?
Well, I thought that I'd be able to go through all of the exercises, for example, for the mathematical ability, but I wasn't that quick in those exercises. So that was quite an interesting feeling to go through these exercises.
Yes, it's made like this on purpose because we don't have unlimited time for every job-related task also, right?
Yeah.
So we always have a deadline.
Yeah.
So in this case, that's also the reason. And rarely almost no one completes all of the exercises.
Okay.
So
I thought that
worry.
I would have to do everything, but that's not the case then.
No, not the case. Definitely no. Okay, so let's have a look at your test results. And so we will start with the analytical test also. So this is designed to measure your general mental ability. In other words, your ability to reason logically, solve problems, and learn new information. And these skills are the key role in adapting to change and making decisions and succeeding in complex or unfamiliar situations. And of course, we have to interpret your results somehow, because if you get of course, your speed and your accuracy is calculated. And if in general you get the result of 60, so we don't know what that means. We need to somehow compare it against the standardized norm group.
Okay.
And in this test, the norm group is very, very fresh. It was updated only in 2024. It consists of 995 adults. So it's a very, very large norm group that is distributed all over Baltics. So includes all Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. And your results were compared to specialists, these specialists.
Okay, so in the whole of Baltics?
Yes, exactly. Okay. Yes, it does not have the national norms now. So as people are hired more and more across Baltic states, so this just made sense to do it like this. And yes, and all of the norms, they were normally distributed. That means that the most common result was 50%. So if your responses are 50 and over, then you're already, your results are significantly higher than regular specialist results, or the most common specialist results in Baltic states.
Okay.
That means that 50 is already very good. And then if it's even higher, as it is in your case, in quite a few scales, then that means that it already exceeds this general result of the Baltic specialists.
So if I get the score that is 50 on the scale, this means that it's the same as the group average of all of these people in the Baltics.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Yes, very good. And if we're talking scale by scale, so verbal ability scale, you have this highest result, and this scale as such indicates how easily a person can handle work that requires frequent analysis of complex legal documents, of writing detailed texts, and how often in your everyday work life do you handle difficult text, contracts, or something like that?
Well, actually, it's quite a lot. So I was actually surprised that I got such a high score. But if I think about it, then I work a lot with contracts, with a lot of technical documentation. And I see that this is something that comes easy to me.
Oh, yeah. Have you always had this talent of?
Yes, I was good in school in different literature subjects and so on. It came quite naturally for me, even in school as well.
Okay. So if we're moving further on, then we are looking at the mathematical ability that is a bit above average for you, 50 to 60%. So mathematical ability reflects a person's accuracy in interpreting numerical information, drawing appropriate conclusions from it. They show how well an individual can apply mathematical thinking and obtaining necessary data, which is useful both in everyday life, professional tasks such as planning and solving daily challenges. And if we're talking about daily challenges, what kind of methods do you usually use to structure your day?
Well, that's a good question. Usually, I plan my day ahead. I look at the details that I need to complete, and then look at the whole picture during it as well. So I take some of the tasks that I have and try to see when is it possible for me to complete them. So looking at the details as much as possible, but also looking at the big picture.
Mm-hmm. Do you implement some kind of planning tools?
Yes, Outlook, calendar, my to-do lists, and so on. So otherwise, it would be hard to keep track.
Yeah. Do you like the visual spread or?
Visual is it's easier to comprehend it if it's visual, and if it's only numbers, yeah, maybe that's not my strongest suit. But the visual side really helps as well.
Okay, yes. And that's very visible because your spatial reasoning is extremely high. And this is exactly what you were saying. So here we're looking at the abstract thinking and the strategic thinking. We're looking at the bigger picture. How well can you make something from scratch that doesn't exist till now? For example, like a project or a system or a process that has to be developed step by step, but you have to see the end result. Otherwise, it's very hard. And so for some people, this is also part of the fluid intelligence that is completely inborn.
Okay.
So for some people, it's extremely hard to see these 2D, 3D rotations and these figures, and then they turn the computer or they turn their heads and everything, but still they still won't be able to see it. So this is if this scale is high, that means that you have this ability to see the bigger picture too. And have you made something in your work life like this, something from scratch, something big, something serious?
Yes, like strategic thinking is one of the job tasks that I have to do. So looking at the big picture and thinking about the next steps forward for a longer period of time, and then looking at the details, what make it up. So yes, I think it goes well with what I do at work at the moment.
Okay. Great. And then the final scale or subscale in this test is the logical thinking. So you have also quite high results here, and it indicates significantly higher ability to recognize patterns and draw conclusions than most of the respondents. And you possess well-developed and versatile analytical skills and can solve problems involving pattern recognition, goal setting, and generating new ideas. Are you doing like budget planning for your company or your department for the next time?
Yes. Setting goals and coming up with a draft of the budget and the yearly, let's say, goals. Yes, that's part of what I do in my work.
And how precise they are usually?
I go quite in detail, so I want to make sure that everything is as exactly as possible, or sorry, as precisely as possible. So trying to be as precise as possible.
Yeah. And if we're talking about all of the skills that we talked over, which ones would you say are the strongest suit for you?
Well, I guess what we have talked about here as well, and how I see myself, well, verbal ability and spatial ability. I see that this is useful in my everyday work as well.
And do you feel that something still needs to be developed?
Well, the mathematics, it was in the average level, so maybe I could be a little bit better, but at the same time, I don't do as much, let's say, quick calculations in my everyday work as well. So, but it could be improved when comparing the other results as well.
Okay. Okay. So at the end of the day, we are calculating the general mental ability that is based on all of the 4 scales that we discussed before. So, and your result is very high, and that means that your general mental ability lets you to learn very quickly, to work independently, to self-motivate, and do things like that. Do you agree?
I guess so. Yeah, I haven't thought about it like that, but when you say it, it might be true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have any more questions, perhaps, about this test, or is everything clear so far?
Well, I've read through the report. I think it was quite well written, and no questions at the moment.
Okay. So let's then change. And of course, mental ability gives us insight into how you process and solve problems. But when it comes to working with others, making decisions, and and making meaning in your daily tasks, your personality also plays a big role. And that's where the triplet persona test is the next test that comes in. It is based on the Big Five personality theory, which is the most widely respected framework in psychology, especially organizational psychology. And your profile is built by comparing your answers to also a large sample of professionals, the same as it was for the previous test, the same it's here. And it also implies that that the average is 50, but if we're talking like in a psychological terms, then the higher or lower your results are, the more profound this trait will be, not based on the situation. Meaning, so if your result is between 30 and 70%, then you may act according to the situation. You may be quite flexible with this trait, and if it's higher, then it's going to be visible, or lower, that's going to be visible, not facing, not based on the situation, in any situation like this. Okay, so if we're talking about activity level, it's very high. So you seem to be an extrovert. How do you feel with this result?
Well, yes, I like to be active. I like to be energetic. I like to talk with a lot of people. This is true for my work life. Also, outside of work life, I have a lot of friends that I always talk with. So, yeah, I think it sounds true to me.
And do you do remote work also?
I like to go to the office to meet people face to face as well, but sometimes, yeah.
Yes. That's very typical for an extrovert. Because it could be, if like a monotone task is given for someone who is isolated at work without any regular communication with colleagues, then it could be a risk of procrastination or this brain fog, and it could be quite hard to do. Extroverts need this exchange of energy just to feel energized. So this really also describes you. Also, if we're talking about emotional response, your score is also very high. And of course, it's great. It suggests that you are very emotionally stable, and meaning you tend to stay calm and composed under pressure, and recover quickly from setbacks, and feedbacks don't really influence you that much. But everyone has some kind of stressful situation at work, and something that triggers us that we don't really like. What is that for you?
Well, usually it's deadlines. You have a lot of projects that you have to finish at the same time, which means that sometimes it could be a little bit stressful.
Yeah, okay. And how do you handle this?
Well, I try to organize as much as possible, try to keep some time in my daily calendar as well, to keep some time for maybe some spontaneous events that might come up. And this helps me to better cope with these really, really demanding, let's say, deadlines.
Okay, great. And can you share a situation when someone was not satisfied with your work results?
Well, I would have to say that maybe some time ago, when you discuss something with the client, and the way you let's say you agree on some things, but something happens along the project that does not go according to the plan. So you need to sit down, schedule a meeting, talk it through with the client, and really set the expectations how to move forward as well. So sometimes it happens.
Yeah. Okay, great. Then let's move forward. When we're talking about interaction style, it's also quite high, and it suggests that you're very cooperative, you're a team worker, very empathic, but sometimes these results may indicate that a person can't really set healthy boundaries and is quite bad at saying no. How are you with these things?
Well, that depends. If it's, for example, my colleagues saying no, if I see that I have a lot of work on my hand, that's not a problem. But sometimes maybe yes, maybe saying to clients no when it should, let's say, should set some boundaries. Maybe sometimes it's hard to do that.
Yes, and about colleagues that you're saying no if you have too much work.
Yeah.
Has it always been like this, or have you actively worked on this trait?
I think if I was younger, then maybe I was a little bit more prone on taking a lot of tasks on my hand, and this could lead to a lot of stressful times. So I guess I've learned it throughout my years.
Yes. And your mental ability and also personality profile indicates that you could be a very good leader. You have the talents and the abilities for that. But a leader also needs to have these difficult conversations and make unpopular decisions.
Yeah.
How do you think you may be with this?
Yeah, I guess that would be an area of improvement to take into account and really set the personal boundaries.
Yeah, that's something to think about. Okay, and then we are moving on to thinking style. This was, just let me check. Yes, the thinking style was high, so you're an explorer. That means that you really crave for new ideas and new interesting solutions, technical solutions, new things. Isn't it? Is this something that you can actually achieve in your work?
Sometimes I can come up with creative ways of coming up with like long-term projects, some plans as well. Then I can just think of like some new innovative ways how to approach my work. So it's comes naturally to me to think of like ways to improve and be more effective.
And isn't it hard, or how is it working with colleagues who are more, how to say, traditional and say that we've been doing this for 20 years? Why should we change anything?
Yeah, that is the hard part. I would much rather try to avoid routine and come up with new solutions. So sometimes I might be a little bit coming up with new ideas really quickly, and yeah, it sometimes takes some patience to work with more traditional coworkers.
Yeah. That's so true. Okay, and if we're talking about action style, then you are balanced. This is the middle. This is the only scale that is not very, very high, and that means that you can be goal oriented and fill the deadlines very well, but at the same time you're more flexible and playful within your working style. How would you comment this?
Well, yes, the work, and especially from the client side, you have to be flexible. You can have your own long-term plan set out. However, the outside environment might change, and then you have to rearrange your goals and plans. So I think the balanced one reflects me quite well. I have to be able to quickly rearrange the goals that I have been setting.
Yeah. And also I see that this achievement striving is also a bit average in the middle. Is something happening now that is a bit blocking your will for achievements?
Well, it's more to do with how you set your goals. It's the work environment is totally, let's say, constantly changing, and you have to be able to quickly rearrange these like short-term goals as well to make the projects work and so on.
Okay, so yeah, basically we have quickly went through all of your scales,
Yep.
and to summarize, so your profile is a great combination of strong reasoning ability, emotional stability, and high interpersonal warmth. And you may thrive in very different roles, as I said, leadership role also, but you really have to a little bit work on this agreeableness that is quite high for you.
Yeah.
That is for leader not so desirable. Yeah. Okay. And do you have any questions perhaps about these tests?
No, I actually read through the persona reports as well. I seem to recognize myself in that, and at the moment, no questions.
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel after this discussion?
And it was interesting to do. So it was quite a lot of new information to understand about myself, and also see some areas of improvement. Also see my strengths. So it was quite informative.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for taking the time with me, and good luck in your career.
Thank you.
Thank you.